speak to today. As you know, since even before Russia launched its full-scale invasion, the United States has marshaled a coalition of more than 50 countries to provide assistance to Ukraine and to hold Russia accountable for its actions. We have made clear that we will always adapt and adjust the capabilities that we provide to Ukraine when it's appropriate to do so, and you have seen us back that up with steps that we have taken over the past several years, but I don't have any new policy developments to speak to today.
Obviously, this is already being reported that there is a change of policy, and the Kremlin has responded saying this is a major escalation from the U.S. Do you have you're not confirming the policy change,
Yeah.
but given that this is already information out there that Russians are responding to, what's your take on them accusing you of escalating this conflict?
Yeah, so again, I know this goes without saying, but let me say it anyway. I'm not going to speak to or confirm any policy changes. But when you look at escalation of this conflict, it has been Russia that has escalated the conflict time and time again. And that includes just in the recent month when Russia recruited the deployment of more than 11,000 North Korean soldiers who are now on the front lines in Kursk, engaging in combat operations against the Ukrainian military. That is a major escalation by Russia, bringing in an Asian military to a conflict inside Europe. And as we said, as the Secretary said, our response to that would be firm. And the supporters of Ukraine's response to that needed to be firm. And we will continue to do what is appropriate to hold Russia accountable for its actions, including its escalatory actions, and to hold North Korea accountable for its escalatory actions.
The Russians say that they can just deploy whoever they like to Kursk because it's inside their own country. What's the kind of principle here that a country can't bring in other troops to defend?
So the first principle that we need to remember, of course, and I know you haven't forgotten this, but for everyone else, is that it is Russia that started this war by invading the sovereign territory of its neighbor. Russia that invaded Ukraine supported proxy war in 2014, and then that launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022. And so if Russia wanted to stop the attacks on its territory, it's the aggressor here. And it could withdraw from Ukraine. It could stop targeting Ukrainian civilians. It could stop targeting Ukrainian civilian infrastructure. It could stop occupying Ukrainian territory. So it matters very much who is the aggressor in this conflict and who is the victim. But the fact that Ukraine is defending the occupation of its territory by launching attacks inside Russia in no way justifies the escalation of this conflict by introducing a foreign army into conflict directly with Ukrainian soldiers.
And you've said that since the election of Donald Trump as the president-elect, you've said you will surge remaining military assistance to Ukraine. With I guess the idea of strengthening the Ukrainians, from the sort of comments from Russia, sort of saying, well, this is an outgoing administration and they are acting irresponsibly by further escalating a conflict. And I know you're not confirming this particular act, but you have talked about rushing support for Ukraine and giving the Ukrainians as much as possible. Is there a danger that you are fueling the fire of a conflict that your successor may have a different view on?
The American people elected Joe Biden to a 4-year term, not to a term of 3 years and 10 months. And we will use every day of our term to pursue the foreign policy interests that we believe are on behalf, that we believe are in the interests of the American people. If the incoming administration wants to take a different view, that is, of course, their right to do so. And I expect in many cases they will do so. But it is our duty to fulfill the mandate that the American people gave to President Biden. And we will continue to do that. And I would add that when you look at the position of the American public on support for Ukraine, there has been overwhelming support among the American people, and there's been overwhelming support in Congress for providing this aid to Ukraine. So we're going to continue to provide it and get all of it out the door before we leave office.